Go ahead.
Well, welcome to our new show called Duel of the Debates, where we fight to the death and nobody dies.
Nope.
And we fight over a question.
We have Scooby-Doo in the house with us today.
We do? Okay.
Well, we got guests. Before we even introduce ourselves, we got James and Cameron back with us for their last of their 3-episode arc here.
I gotta watch this. I gotta wash this sweater,
Yeah,
man.
you just haven't keep wearing it every day.
3 weeks straight. I've been in these out. You told me I couldn't change.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Not even when you're out of the studio.
Yeah,
Just-
no, just 3 weeks straight. Going to work like this. Come on now. They're can't complain.
I haven't slept since then.
All right. Anyway,
I'm still so tired.
I'm Danny. He's Dan. Or I'm Dan. He's Danny. Wow.
What?
Whoa.
No.
You just pulled everyone at work. Everyone at work calls me Dan. Everyone calls him Danny.
Oh man, that's actually awful. Anyway, okay.
You called me Dan the other day.
All right, Danny. Let's go over the rules for the people at home. So.
Okay, this is the DOTD rules.
How have you not watched the past 2 episodes, guys? Come on.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? The objective is to convince the judge why your pick for the question is correct and the other fighters' picks are stupid and wrong. The rules are the arguments need to be objective. There needs to be civility. We're all friends here.
Very much.
Objectivity for the judge. You need to only use the arguments that the fighters present. And the times will be opening arguments are 1 minute per fighter. The rebuttal arguments are 1 minute per fighter. The free-for-all section will be stopped at the judge's discretion, whether it be time, whether it be we go in a loop with our answers, or the judge has a question for one of us. And the closing arguments are going to be 1 minute per fighter.
Okay.
And that's it.
That is it. So let's go through our picks for best TV show that should have been a movie. So we're gonna start with Cameron. Cameron, what is your pick?
Yes, my pick is Showtime/A24's The Curse, which premiered late last year and wrapped up earlier this year.
This is all happening for a reason.
I can't wait for this show to come out.
All right, and James, what is your pick?
I picked Netflix's Squid Game.
And Danny.
I picked Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's just like isn't it like officially Obi-Wan or is it just Kenobi? Wasn't there a toll back and forth with the official name of the
I
show?
thought it was just called Juan.
Directed by James Wan.
Directed by James Wan.
No, I'm pretty sure it's called Obi-Wan Kenobi because there was a Kenobi fan film that came out before. It was a Kenobi.
I thought it was
story.
just called Obi-Wan, to be honest.
That would have been better.
Mike.
Well, let's
There we
save
go.
all this for the actual debate. So let's get to it.
Let's fight!
All right, so we're gonna start with Cameron here
Yes.
today. So Cameron,
Yeah.
whenever you are ready.
Alrighty.
All right, you are on the clock.
All right, The Curse, 10 episodes long, 9 episodes too long. It's...
Okay.
What is the show about? The show stars Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone as a couple who have kind of an HGTV-esque show, and they go to a town in New Mexico to gentrify, to help it. And they kind of run into some problems with the locals, and Nathan Fielder starts to believe that he's being cursed. And he kind of starts to slowly fall apart. The marriage falls apart. It's a great kind of dark comedy that I think went on for a bit too long. I think it started strong. I think it ended even stronger. And I'm very disappointed that I recommended it to a whole lot of people, and they said, Cameron, I'm 2 weeks in. I hate it. I'm going to turn it off. And I think if we started as well as we ended, I think it would have been a great movie. And I really wish it was a movie so that way more people could have enjoyed this very, very darkly funny story.
All right,
The Curse.
Thank you, Cameron. Moving on to James. Whenever you are ready, sir.
Hello. All right.
Hi.
So Squid Game, it's a story. Basically, it is Korean Hunger Games almost, where these 456. 456 people are all put together. They have to compete in these twisted children's games with a deadly twist. There is a lot of subplot, especially towards the end, relating to the people who run the games and this little subplot between a detective and the taskmaster guy, and it's really his brother. I think a lot of that was unnecessary. A lot of the entertainment from that show came from the games and watching the twisted ethics and moral dilemmas of how you compete against your fellow man. That's where the interest came, and that's where it was. And I think if we got rid of all of the subplot relating to who ran the games and maybe changed it up a little bit from those dumbass dipshit Americans to something that made a little bit more sense, maybe, Hunger Games meets Parasite.
Okay.
Parasite.
Moving on
Now
to
that's a good movie.
Danny. Yes. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
So Obi-Wan Kenobi, simply my best argument here is that it literally was supposed to be a movie.
Right.
They decided, Disney Plus came out in 2019 while they were developing this movie. They're like, oh, we should make it into a 6-episode series and we should drag it out and add a bunch of stupid subplots that make no sense with Leia. And, we only have really one idea towards the end of the thing, and we have the beginning and the end. And they just made a bunch of bullshit in the middle. I think they introduced a lot of dumb side characters that did not need, that if this were a movie would not have happened. And they just stretched it out and made it basically, like, the pacing is the major killer of this. And there is a cut out there where a guy basically did, I think it's called the Patterson cut. He basically just made this a movie. Same thing with the Ahsoka series, same thing with Book of Boba Fett. That's just the problem that Disney has made with these supposed to be movies. They're literally supposed to be movies. They made them into 6-episode series.
All right. Nicely done. All right. Rebuttal time. We're going to start with James. So whenever you are ready.
Are you ready?
No.
You can take a minute.
Yeah, because I just know how to argue for my stuff. I have no clue how to argue against either of you guys right now. You a little more, but...
Dan, if you want, I could give James some ammunition to rebut.
Okay.
If we want to switch up the order.
Yeah, sure. All right. Cameron, you can start.
So James, I think what you're saying does make some sense, but I would also argue that we do need to see all of the games played out in their entirety. I think that adds to the tension of the show. And so that's why I think Squid Game excels as a TV show, and that's kind of what I appreciate about it. Danny, when it comes to Obi-Wan, I would even argue maybe we don't need Obi-Wan Kenobi. For me, Star Wars isn't very much something that has to be colored in. Every single square has to be colored in with the lore. I kind of like the questions that we have with what's Obi-Wan been doing between 3 and 4? Well, he's just been kind of hanging out, but in this case, he has to have an adventure with Leia and whatnot, and has to fight Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then what I would also like to add about The Curse is that it did premiere at the New York Film Festival last year, so I think there is also something cinematic that the good people at the Film at Lincoln Center did recognize in The Curse. And also, I think The Curse also kind of lacks a narrative drive that other Safdie projects have, where you really start to ratchet up the tension in that third act.
Okay. James.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
All right.
Go.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is a character we've seen on screen for decades now. Mm-hmm. We don't need to hear more about him. This Star Wars is supposed to be set in a galaxy far, far away. Why are there about 20 people in this entire galaxy that we ever hear from?
That's Disney.
Just like Cameron said, Obi-Wan Kenobi does not need to exist at all, not as a movie, not as a TV show. We don't need this backstory of a character we've had decades of backstory on already. We've had 2 different actors play him. He's been covered. We're good. Just focus on somebody else. Even if you're going to focus on somebody already established, maybe make it somebody we don't know a lot about. Maybe make it somebody that has that interesting, like I will say Andor did that. They took a character not super well known. They went deep into him. There you go.
They went deep into him.
I mean... I have not heard of The Curse. I don't know anybody that has heard of The Curse. So therefore, that alone, I mean...
Therefore, it's stupid. I hate it.
All right. Moving on to Danny.
Okay.
All right. Go for it.
I don't... Okay, so your main argument is that it just didn't need to exist either way. I could just say the same thing for your guys' stuff. We don't need Korean Korean Hunger Games. We don't need this HGTV ripoff of that's with Nathan Fielder. We don't need it. I think the interesting thing about Obi-Wan is that he's never been a main character or anything until this thing. I think we needed that, and I believe there's a great story somewhere in there where they started to get the hints of it, where he loses his faith in the Jedi and then he gets it back, because you see him be so angry and almost go into the dark side at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and then A New Hope, he's just, I've come to terms with it. I'd like to see that story there.
Yeah.
I think there's stuff in there that could be just enough to tell a movie. The Curse, I think, needs to be a TV show because it's parodying HGTV, which is a TV show. I don't know exactly what happens in it, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Starting off hot. All right, we are going to move on
The fire.
to the free-for-all round.
Questions,
So,
Daniel?
I mean, I guess
about this debate.
yeah.
I know you have
I
questions.
got a lot of questions about life and love.
Let's start off with Squid Game, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, James, tell me more about why you think what would make it a very good movie, Squid Game.
Yeah, I just think that the games, while they were very entertaining, they offered a lot of insight. They could have been heavily condensed. We didn't need an hour episode dedicated to one event from the game, just dedicated to, well, I was about to say marbles, but that was probably the best episode, so I won't say marbles. But like the glass panes at the end, like that was... They just seem to like be beating the same beats by the end of the show. And I think they could have condensed it by maybe lessening the games, maybe lessening the contestant pool. I know 456 was a big deal because it was money added for each contestant lost, but just maybe make the ratio a little bit higher so that sort of stuff exists.
With the season 2, what are they doing in season 2? I haven't seen the trailer
Well,
yet.
doing
that's
it again.
exactly
What-
why I
they're just
also
doing it
think it should
again?
be a movie, because I don't think there should be a season 2.
Yeah.
Fans notoriously loved this show until the final 20, 30 minutes or so, when they pulled this twist that the old man, I will not even try to remember their names because they're in Korean.
Yeah.
I don't know them. But the old man, the person, he revealed to be the creator of the games. And it was destroying for the fan base because he was one of the most well-known, well-liked characters on the show.
Very
Because he
sympathetic.
seemed to have a great sweetheart. He helped out our main protagonist in the marbles game. It made it seem like he sacrificed himself for him. And it's just all taken away at the end by revealing, I'm just a dying old guy who wanted to be a bastard and have some fun. It's like,
This asshole.
so that's all revealed. So that's why I think a lot of the overarching plot line of who created the games and the running of it, it was not as strong as the actual playing of the games, and it needed to be redone, redid, and I think it could have been better in a condensed format, and maybe you could have led into some sequels that way more naturally, my opinion.
I don't know about so I think you definitely need that time. So think, can you really get through all of those interesting challenges with all the intricacies, with all of the ensemble of cast? Can you get through that in 2.5 to 3 hours? I don't think you can. No. I think you need to have maybe cut down on an episode or two. You think you could do that? Like, I know there's a cliffhanger with the between the rope one.
I think there's a rhythm to the show.
Yeah, you could just kind of put each game on one episode. I think
When did Squid Game come out? Was that a COVID?
2021.
Okay, yeah.
So I think you're right. I think it needed to be a mini series though, not a what they're doing now. I think they're going in the wrong direction by making a sequel season. But I think without introducing so much of the mystery, fixing the Americans in there, I do think it needs to be a TV show though, because there's just so much there.
Yeah.
With Obi-Wan, there was supposed to be just 2.5 hours to tell this. There's not enough material there to extend it to, and like even 6 episodes for a season is also a really awkward amount of time because it's just enough to like basically get through half a season. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. And also, and then you're pissing people off by making the episodes 23 minutes long for a drama. Like,
yeah.
Not even the bear does that. It's a comedy.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Obi-Wan, like it has a beginning, middle, and an end. It was supposed to be a movie. It was planned out that way. Same thing with Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka. With the Curse, I think it depends on how you look at the question. I think when I saw a TV show that should be a movie, it has to have a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Curse was a TV show, but had a beginning, middle, and end in the first episode, and there's kind of a bunch of stuff at the end of it.
In a way, because the pilot does kind of end on this question of, because essentially Nathan Fielder offers a small poor girl trying to sell soda $20 for the show so he can buy a can of soda to make it look like he's engaging with the community. And then after he thinks they have the shot, he takes the money away from her and she goes, "I curse you." And so he's like, "Oh." And then he starts to worry that he has a curse.
So then, but that's the end of the episode.
That's the end of the episode is the
it's just a
inclination of the
prologue
curse.
then.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think
it's kind of like the first act.
I think you do need to make it a TV show.
But that first act can be really tightened up. It's kind of a lot of,
a lot of meanderings.
I personally think so. I do want to kind of push back on the idea of that a show critiquing show should only be a show. I think, there are plenty of movies that do good stuff with TV. I love Broadcast News with James L. Brooks. And then also I think the Curse is very cinematic because of their working with Benny Safdie, because it's very much, it's shot by Maceo Bishop, who worked on the Uncut Gems crew. And so they kind of have that kind of almost like a surveillance camera, like, the cameras that are across the street so you see the cars passing in front of them. Like that kind of Safdie look to it where, it's very layered and whatnot. And then you've also have the score by John Medeski, who echoes the score of like Uncut Gems, that kind of synth, kind of otherworldly stuff, because that is what the Curse is about. There's kind of this otherworldly idea because all these things start to go wrong. And then the question is, is this something that only Nathan Fielder is seeing, or is there some truth to the Curse? That idea. And he becomes very much obsessed with that. And it's really interesting to watch. And also, Nathan Fielder's just so good. And the dramatic stuff that he's given in the show is really, really strong. And to have been able to see that on the big screen rather than on a TV at my home, man, I really wish I could have had that opportunity, and especially with Emma Stone.
Well, the thing is, I think it sounds like there's a lot of different angles that they're introducing in the show. And they get to the point of...
Right.
If it were a movie, you would have to cut out some stuff. You'd have to cut down on some beginnings of ideas, and same thing with Squid Game. You'd have to cut out and
I think
truncate
there could have been an option to become more efficient in making those points
into a 3-hour tops movie.
Yes,
I don't know.
I think the
10 episodes, cinematic episodes, it's really hard to do that. Like,
I don't know. I feel like the Safdies are so efficient with like sometimes just a shot can be like, oh, there's something going on here. Like the shot in Uncut Gems when Adam Sandler's setting up his bed in his office. That already tells you, all right, he doesn't spend a lot of time at home. This isn't the first time this has happened because he has a bed in the drawer. You
can get subtext down.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's what the Curse has. The Curse has a lot of subtext, I think.
The thing is, so much subtext, I don't think you can squeeze it into a 3-hour movie, though. Maybe. Because with a TV show, I think the Safdies are smart enough to realize, we have 10 episodes to do a lot of stuff. We're not going to just do one idea. So I think if we're talking about the question of like a TV show as it is should be a movie, right? There's not enough in Obi-Wan to justify a TV show. There is enough in The Curse to justify the same thing with Squid Game. So it's Obi-Wan was meant to be a movie. It was planned out that way. Yeah. I literally think they rewrote it like 3 times because I think Joby Harold did the show. But basically, like you can see the movie structure in the TV show. You can see he's like the call to adventure. Leia gets kidnapped. Halfway through the season, he meets Darth Vader for the first time. He's like, "Oh fuck, I'm scared." And then by the end of the season, episode 6, he meets him, faces him head on after a quick second half of the second act, and faces him and has a heart to heart with Anakin. Right. It may not be good. Yes. I like that it's the fact that Obi-Wan loses his faith and gets it back. They fuck it up with the pacing in that sense because he gets his force back in episode 2, but whatever.
And also, does your movie still have Reva? Was that her name? Moses Ingram's character? Reva? Yeah. She's still in it?
Everything. The basic building block elements are still there. Gotcha. She's a bad character. I'm not saying this is a good show. I'm saying it just should have. I think it would have been better if it was a movie.
I personally would just prefer to have less Star Wars in my multiplexes.
All right, so I want to propose a question to all of you, starting with James. If you were to make this movie, what would you cut out of the show, or how would you make it be able to be cut down.
Yeah. If I were to make this a movie, I would cut the contestant pool probably in half, if not a little more, just to get rid of a lot of those extra background characters, and I would get rid of a lot of the plot line involving the detective brother who's infiltrated the games in an attempt to try and find his missing brother, who we find out is the guy with the black mask who's like running everything, helping run everything. I think a lot of that could have been cut out or completely just condensed fully and make it into a bit more of a what is going on here, and leave all of that for a sequel to establish and expand upon.
More intrigue
from there.
Like Raid,
just
Raid
have
2.
little hints of there's some weird stuff going on with. Obviously, there's weird stuff going on with whoever the hell's running these games, but just have little tiny hints of it. Don't really show much, and leave your end cliffhanger for a sequel as a bit more of a reveal of who these people are, who's running this. And not make it that old guy who everybody thought was so sweet and loving, and then he turns out to be a cruel bastard. Don't have that twist.
All right, moving on to Danny. How would you make this movie? Would you cut any characters? What would you do?
I would cut out specific scenes. One specific character I would cut out is Haja. Camille Nanjiani. Like, even just takes away. See, he did the same thing in Eternals. It took away a lot of my immersion into.
Boingo.
It's just like it didn't
Fun
work.
fact, I just watched Eternals.
No, I'm sorry.
I love Eternals.
Okay, all right.
All right, to each his own. We're not here to argue that, but
Oh, I should have picked that for the
You
first
should-
episode.
Oh man.
yeah, I think I actually did kind of like a rewrite. Started it. I like Benny Safdie in it. I feel like his character would be a lot better. I feel like if you want to get to the reason, the heart of, because what they're trying to go for, at least in the first few episodes, is Obi-Wan lost his faith, and that he gets it back through the inspiration of Leia. What I think they do wrong is keep her around for the whole show. She should have been returned to Bail Organa halfway through when she gets rescued the first time, and then he has to be like, oh no, I've alerted the Empire. Leia, get to safety. I'll take them from here. And then he starts working with the path under there, and then he's like, okay, Darth Vader's like going after me. He's a so
Leia's a subplot more.
yeah, like a subplot, and like so they don't form enough of a bond to make it kind of like, how the fuck doesn't she like recognize him or like care for him when he dies in the you could fix that plot hole. You could I'd cut out the weird stupid like
Would you keep Flea in the movie?
would.
Or would you add a different member of Red Hot Chili Peppers like Anthony Kiedis?
Or Chris Smith.
I would
Chad Smith.
Chad
I would
Smith,
pick Dave
that'd be great.
Navarro actually. And then he'd be like, inkers or artists.
Okay. Thank you, Danny. Cameron.
Yes.
How about you? What would you cut out?
Yes.
Same thing as all the others.
I'll just highlight, if I may, just do the inverse. What I'll keep in. I'll keep in the impetus of the curse. I would keep in their kind of fake pilot that they do. That's really, really funny. I would keep in the marriage troubles. I would keep in Benny Safdie as kind of this tertiary character who's the producer of the show, who slowly kind of instigates the romantic issues that each character has. And the third act I would make almost identical to the finale of The Curse, except in The Curse it's an hour long. We can definitely condense that because it's surrounded around this incredible twist that I just can't say anything else about. But I think if that was the last half hour of a movie, I think everyone's jaws would be on the ground, and I think everyone would be talking about it. The fact that it was the 10th hour of a show kind of lost its kind of cultural impact.
Like Lost.
Like Lost.
But
The
they
curse
were
is just
all
like
just
Lost.
dead in the end. Shut
They weren't though.
I know.
What?
Okay,
I'm saying shut up to people.
Have you
who
been
say
watching?
that.
Last thoughts before closing arguments for anyone? Unless you guys want to get anything else out. All right, let's start with Danny. I almost said Janny. All right, so
Allison Janney?
Allison Janney, baby.
Yes.
All right,
Mom.
whenever.
Tanya?
whenever-
And in Lost.
And oh yeah,
She's the mother in
not-
Lost.
Not the mother. She's what's his
Jacob and the Man in Black's mom.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Hi, thanks for joining us on Duel of the Lost podcast.
I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody else wanted
talked
to.
about it.
Yeah, all right.
Danny.
I said I'd maybe.
You are on the clock.
All right. I think it's undisputed. Obi-Wan was supposed to be a movie. I think I win the question right there, but I'll elaborate a little more by attacking you too. The Curse. I haven't seen it before, but it just sounds like there's a lot more there. And you said a half hour dedicated to the last episode. That means everything in between is almost irrelevant. I doubt it because it's the Safdies. Because they're good filmmakers. Squid Game, I think it was designed and written for like over 20 years. It was designed from the start to be a TV show. The writer and creator wanted to do this as a TV show, and he expanded on the lore. I agree it didn't end that well because they set it up for the sequel thing. And I do think that almost cutting out a lot of the ideas and truncating it to a movie would make it better. But then again, that's not the question.
All right. Moving on to Cameroon.
Alrighty.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
That's a country.
Cameroon. Knights of Cameroon.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cameroon with Duel and Debates.
Capital is Yaoundé.
Macaron.
You are on the clock.
Yes. So I think one of the great things that TV does in the industry of Hollywood is it gives people jobs. And that's why I think Obi-Wan is great, because that show exists to give people good, hard-working jobs and nothing else.
Tax write-off.
Good old tax write-off.
Contributes nothing else to society.
I think Squid Game has enough going on where I do appreciate it as a show. I think The Curse really could have benefited from being seen on the big screen with some nice soundscape designs, great visuals, great performances that would have been nice to be experienced on something more than just television. And I think that it really could have benefited from some tightening up. I do think that there is a whole lot going on in the show itself, but I think the movie could have been a bit more efficient, a bit more exciting. And I think I would have preferred to see The Curse in a movie theater. But you know what? I'll totally be honest. I actually really love The Curse as a show. I think it's really fucking good, but it could have been even better as a movie. And
All right. James.
Dames.
You are on
Andre.
the clock.
All right, so Squid Game. I mean, it's a great show. It was a phenomenon when it came out. Everybody was watching it, but I think there's a lot of unnecessary extraneous stuff in there, and I think could have made a really fun semi-dystopian movie, like I said, combining the Hunger Games with Parasite. The socioeconomic class struggles, creating these apocalyptic games for dire circumstances. I think could have made a really interesting trilogy of movies. Just the first one focusing on the games themselves. Maybe follow a similar structure to Hunger Games, just not the ending of Hunger Games. Anyway, The Curse, I can't speak to it. From what Danny said, it sounds just like a TV show designed to be a TV show, given the HGTV connections, kind of like WandaVision. That would never work as a movie because it is ingrained in TV culture. Obi-Wan, like I said before, we don't need more Star Wars, but if we do, it shouldn't be Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Nicely done, everyone. All right, so a decision has been made, but I'm going to talk about all of them first. So,
Okay.
Cameron.
Yeah.
You
Curse.
lost.
Cameron's
first.
The tax write-offs. So the Safdies, yeah, they're great. Love the Safdies. So I like what you were saying about that whole 10th hour thing. You talk about how it's the ending is great and it would have made it for a great movie. You made me really want to watch it now, just to see what the ending is.
Everyone out there should watch The Curse.
And the way
I'm
you
gonna watch
were
it now.
talking about, I mean, I've seen the pilot and everything.
Yeah.
And
And you've seen
way that it's-
Nathan's Little Fielder.
yes.
Now it's on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Hungry for nothing.
There.
So, but this movie this show definitely would be rewatchable as a movie. That's the thing with TV shows; they're not as rewatchable, and that's why we're doing this whole option to see like how you could rewatch this movie, I guess, because nobody's rewatched any of these shows.
I've never rewatched Squid Game since I saw 2021.
Yep.
That was it.
I refuse to rewatch Obi-Wan.
That's
never
what I'm
watch
saying.
that show
That's what
again.
I'm saying, right?
But if it was a movie, it's a lot easier to devote 2-3
Couple hours.
hours
Exactly.
instead of a week of your time or so.
Exactly. All right, so Squid Game. Yes, the games. I don't know. It definitely seems more episodic to me as a show overall. But I like how you said it could be, open-ended weird shit in the at the ending of the movie. That could be a really cool thing to do, kind of like The Curse. It'll keep it open-ended, kind of like, maybe not as ambiguous as The Curse probably is, but it's fine. But it was designed as a show from the start. So for that, you've been disqualified.
No.
Sorry, James.
I'm disqualified for picking the topic.
No.
Well, actually, I did before you make it. I just wanted to say, not to be mean or anything, but
More closing arguments?
well, I don't consider this, I guess. But I thought an interesting thing with Squid Game is in a movie.
Yeah.
Or so in the show, they have this whole episode dedicated to after the first challenge, where they have the option to leave
Yeah.
and then come back.
And they do.
I love that episode because you could never do that in a movie, or you'd have to make it like 10 minutes long and not really get the full impact of it.
It could have been very cool as a movie, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Don't include that.
this is an
more.
episodic thing. So,
Yes.
I don't know. Anyway, moving on to Kenobi.
Kenobi.
20 people in the entire galaxy for Star Wars.
That was
Yes.
incredible.
That was an incredible take, and you're
James,
100% right.
congratulations there. That was good.
So, but we were excited when Kenobi was coming out because we were just like, oh my God, we're going to finally get to see in between episodes 3 and 4 what
Ewan's
he's been
back.
doing. But, then it came out. It was literally designed to be a movie. That Danny's getting around the whole chase there because this was supposed to be a movie. But I do like how you explained how you would make it a movie. A man who's lost his faith. Leia's a subplot. She should have been a subplot, not a main plot. It's that whole thing. So
Dumb subplot. She sucked anyway.
I don't
She
know.
was roasting
all
the
of
show
you had
too.
very good ideas
The
for
child.
what could make this a movie, but God, I think I have to go with Kenobi just because it should have been a movie, and like the way
Yay.
Danny kind of explained it, I mean, it just
won.
works. It just works. The Curse, I unfortunately don't even know what the ending is still, but it does make me want to watch it. So thank you, Cameron.
For sure,
And
yes.
Squid Game. I would have liked to see it as a movie, but it could set off a potential spinoff for an actual games type TV show.
There you
I think
go.
it's just the games.
Oh, they
Universe.
did that in real life, like a reality show.
And it was
Oh, yeah,
notoriously
yeah.
panned and not well received.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they
well-
didn't give him water. Or
And
some
like the
shit.
whole point of the show is that these are fucked up things. that
Exactly.
It's messed up, and then we're
gonna do it.
endorsing capitalism.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, Mr. Beast did the same thing, and he's
Yeah.
so he must have done
It's
it
just
a different
completely
way.
out of touch. Just
Yeah.
like completely misses the point and just
Well, the thing
flies
is,
right past. it.
the thing is, the audience that watched the Mr. Beast thing, because that's his most popular episode ever on his YouTube channel. I think almost 1 billion views or something like that.
All right.
Yeah, missing the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's everybody though.
but
So it's
Danny
like-
didn't miss the point because he won the duel of the debates.
I did.
James and Cameron, thank you for being on this 3-episode arc. You guys were great topics, great. I mean, we none of us did
Well
research. We watched some stuff. Very good job. We're doing all shakes now. Okay, I guess I'll
got the
I'll
shakes.
air shake. Thank you. Okay.
You're fine.
There you are. Okay. So yeah, we're Duel of the Debates. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with Duel of the Debates. So yeah. And you can find me. I'm Dan on TikTok. Nope, not Tiktok.
Not TikTok.
Jesus
You should
Christ.
start a TikTok.
I
That'd
am
be
not
funny.
starting TikTok. Okay. You can find me on
for MLB the Show.
Oh my God. Letterboxd.
baseball player.
Letterboxd.
Can't wait to just watch the
Donut Man
out of sync-
96.
Well, you can't.
Sorry, say that again, Dan.
No.
No,
you don't
it's
get
fine.
it. You're an asshole.
Donut Man 96.
Thank you. I'm Letterboxd. Okay.
Donut Man 69.
Danny.
And at Dan the Donut Man at _1 and on Instagram. Because I have to look at it every. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I'm Danny. You can find me at Instagram at Danny_Was. My letterbox is serialized at DJ Was, or my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Was. You guys.
I'm James. You can find me on Letterboxd at James81XA.
And you can find me on Letterboxd, Cam Kircher. I do have some thoughts written about the curse. Find them there.
That you didn't hear here.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm just curious. Did you name it? Is it James81XA as in like 81 H and A.
Oh, there's a
Like, ha?
whole. There's a no.
'Cause that's the
there's a
Joker's.
weird backstory
Let's
that's
talk
too
about it
much to
offline.
explain here.
We'll talk about it offline.
Find it in the comments.
All right.
That's the Joker's cell number, 8181.
But yeah,
81 is my
Joker.
lucky number.
Yeah, that's well, because
Why that?
haha, right?
9 squared.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
The eighth.
Yeah,
letter
no.
is H and-
I actually got it from a biker gang who are notoriously not well liked now.
Oh,
Hell's
okay.
Angels,
Oh, okay.
HA. Their number is 81 for that.
Oh.
That makes
My
sense.
dad had a sticker on his car that just said 81. I'm like, I like that number. And then it was later that I learned out as Hell's Angels.
At least it's not 88.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are Duel Debates, and our next. We have no idea what our next
We have no
episode
idea.
is, but we'll have another few guests on for the next 3 episodes.
Next couple
so,
weeks.
That'll be great.
well, at some point, we'll let you know what it is. But until then, we will see you
Before.
next time.